Hi guys and gals, today we're going to talk about face pulls, a great exercise for developing your upper back. It's going to help you with hypertrophy, with strength, with stability, and also it's going to help you with correcting your posture. So if you've got any imbalances, it's going to help you out with that as well. I like to do face pull with one arm at a time, also called unilateral training, which is gonna help me have a better range of motion because I'm gonna just train based on the flexibility of one arm at a time. When you're training both arms at a time or training both legs at a time, also called bilateral training, your flexibility and range of motion are gonna be a little bit impacted because you need to think of both sides of the body. But when you're focusing on one side of the body, first of all, you're going to be more focused. Second of all, you're going to be less fatigued. And third, the flexibility and the range of motion are going to be improved. But it's better to train both sides at the same time, mostly for strength training, but still, it's really good to train both arms at the same time as well. I'm not saying that doing face pull with both arms at the same time is bad. I'm just saying that I prefer to do it most of the time with one arm at a time because it's gonna be better with my flexibility and range of motion. Anyway, I'm gonna first do the exercise, then we're gonna go through the details. Good. So this is pretty much easy. First, let's talk about the muscles that are going to be involved. The main muscles are going to be your deltoid, your traps, the upper fibers, the lower fibers, the middle fibers. Rhomboid is going to be activated. Your rotator cuffs are going to be activated. So the teres minor, the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, they're all going to be involved. Teres major is going to be involved, a little bit of your lats are going to be involved, and it's all based on how you position yourself. So the way you position yourself is going to determine everything. There are some variations that you can do that's going to even involve the muscles in your neck. So I'm going to talk about the variables that you can change to create those variations. The first thing that you can do, which is going to affect the exercise the most, is the position that your body has, or in another way, the angle that your torso has compared to the band. Now, that can be done in two ways. You can bring the band down and do the exercise, so like this. Or instead of this, you can just lean back more. So both of these things are the same. It doesn't matter whether you bring the band down and do the exercise, or put the band in the first place that it was and lean back and do the exercise. It's gonna be the same thing. So the difference is, again, the angle that your body has compared to the back. Also, your elbow positioning matters as well, but we're gonna go through it. You can bring your elbow down here, you can bring the elbow up here, but the main thing is the angle that your body has. The second thing is, as mentioned, the positioning of the elbow. So you can do the face pull while the elbow is down. You can do the face pull whilst the elbow is higher. So we're talking about the abduction degree of your shoulder. So whether you bring the elbow up or down is the abduction degree of the shoulder. We also have to think about the degree of elbow flexion extension. So how much you extend the elbow and do the exercise, and that's also gonna matter as well. And the fourth thing is whether the shoulder is in the same place, or it's getting protracted and retracted as well. So these 4 things are the main things that you can play. First one, bringing the band down or leaning back, or bringing the band up or leaning forward, which are the same thing. The more you lean back or bring the band down, the more you're gonna target your traps, and the more you're gonna target your deltoids, and the impact on the inferior spinatus, on teres major, the last, is gonna be limited, and as mentioned, you're gonna work more on this area. Also, a little bit of your neck muscles like levator scapula is gonna be involved as well, because the tension is gonna be a lot higher. And also, when you go back or bring the band down, you tend to bring the elbow higher as well. So because of the mechanics of your body, you're gonna bring the elbow up a little bit higher, and again, that's gonna help your shoulder and your traps to do more work. So if that's what you want, you can just bring either the band down or lean back, whichever you have more stability to do the exercise with. And just make sure when you're coming up, you do not have internal rotation. So do not bring it up like this. It's gonna be a lot of internal rotation. Try to bring the thumb back. Now it's gonna be the same for all of them. It's better for the health of the shoulder to bring the thumb back, but make sure, especially when you bring the band down or when you lean back, you do not go into an internal rotation. It's gonna cause damage to the shoulder. Also, do not try to externally rotate too much as well. Just as much as you feel the tension on the muscles on your back, it's enough. Too much external rotation is not also a good thing. And vice versa, when you bring the band up or you lean forward, as you can see, when I do the exercise, first of all, the elbow tends to come lower, so it's gonna be a little bit more adducted compared to the first variation, which was a little bit more abducted. So it's gonna cause me to use more lats, the teres major, and also the smaller muscles in that area. Also, the more you come forward, the rhomboids are gonna be involved more. The reason is because the protraction, retraction is gonna be a little bit more compared to when you're all the way back. So the protraction and retraction is gonna be the movement of the shoulder blade. And the movement of the shoulder blade is gonna be less in this position compared to this. So the traps are gonna be less involved, still involved, but less involved. The deltoids are not gonna be that involved, but the rear delt is gonna be involved, but all those other muscles are gonna be involved. But deltoid and traps are really strong, and you're not using 2 of the strong muscles that you have, although you're using a lot of other muscles, but you might not be that much strong with this variation. So when you're leaning forward, you might see that you're a little bit weaker. Also, the range of motion is going to be less. So when you start from here, you're a little bit limited with the range of motion, but when you come back, because you have a little bit more stretch, you're gonna be a little bit more flexible. Now that was the first thing. The second variable is gonna be the level of shoulder abduction, adduction. So where you put the elbow. And we're not talking about flexion extension or bending the elbow. We're talking about bringing the elbow up or down from the side. So you can do the exercise like this. You can do the exercise like this. You can do the exercise like this. So there are different levels that you can put the elbow. The higher you bring the elbow and do the exercise, first of all, if you've got shoulder issues, it might be a little bit hard and it can cause the injuries to get worse. But anyway, if you just bring it up, the more you're gonna use your traps, because rotation of the shoulder blade is gonna be more, and because of that the traps are gonna be involved. Especially the lower traps are gonna be involved as well, and also the deltoids are gonna be involved as well. So the middle delts is gonna be involved, and the other muscles like the lats, the teres minor, teres major, and the other smaller muscles in this area are not going to be that much used because they are stretched a little bit. So they're not going to be able to do that much. Also the rhomboids are not going to be that involved because we do not have that much protraction retraction, although we have the rotation of the shoulder blades, but the lateral rotation is not that much engaged in the rhomboid. So because of that, if you bring it up, again, shoulder traps, and the more you bring the elbow down, it's going to be different muscles. So the rhomboids are going to be involved, the infraspinatus, the rear delt is going to be involved, but the side delt and the traps are not going to be that much involved because we do not have that much rotation of the shoulder blade. So again, based on the muscles that you're gonna use, you can bring the elbow higher or lower, but there is a degree. Again, do not bring it too much up, do not bring it too much down. Around 90 degree to 135, so around 45 degree higher as well is good. So if you assume this is 0, 45 degree, it's good, but do not bring it higher. It's gonna be a little bit back on the shoulder. Now let's talk about the third factor, which was the level of elbow extension flexion. So the more you extend the elbow, the more you're gonna use the shoulder, the smaller muscles in this area. So your teres major is gonna be involved a little bit more, and teres minor, infraspinatus. But the more you flex the elbow, the more you're going to use the traps, the rhomboids, because these muscles, the small muscles, are not going to be able to initiate that much, and you're going to feel that you're stronger when you bend the elbow. The reason is because the distance is getting less, so you don't need to use that much the smaller muscles in this area, and your rhomboid and the traps are gonna help you a lot with the momentum, especially in the beginning. So the speed, because it's higher, you're gonna feel that you're using the middle muscles in this area a lot more. But still, if you really do the exercise slowly, you still are gonna feel it in this area as well. The fourth factor was whether you keep the shoulder steady or you move the shoulder blade as well. So just one quick note that I forgot: make sure you do not bring the elbow all the way straight at us. So make sure it's not fully extended, bend it slightly if you want to have a longer distance, but do not go all the way straight. Also, flexing too much is not gonna be that much good. It's better to go a little bit lighter and extend the elbow a little bit more. So anywhere between, I don't know, a few degrees to around 80 degrees, less than 90 degrees is gonna be good. So whether you keep the shoulder steady or you move the shoulder blade as well. This is pretty much simple. It really depends on other variables. So some of the variables, as mentioned, you're not gonna be able to do that much protraction, retraction, but with some of them you can. And the more you have protraction, retraction, the more you're gonna use the rhomboid, so the muscle in the middle, and that muscle is pretty much strong. So the more you use that, the less you're gonna use the other muscles that we talked about.